What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legions Illythia wave review, taking a look at a new character in this wave. We are taking a look at the goat guy, KROTOS. I've been really curious about this figure just because he is an entirely new thing. Not only a new character, a new figure, but he's a new race when it comes to this line. So surely we're going to get something else out of this guy down the road. Now, he's a standard figure, so he comes in our standard style packaging. So you got your removable packaging here. Take him out, put him back in, no problem. Figure there in the window, Legion's logo on the bottom, faction card on one side, portrait and bio on the other. And then the back of the box, in typical fashion, has our Nate Barch artwork with Illythia in frame, as well as our cross-sell and the write-up for the overall backstory here. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Mythic Legions KROTOS figure. We've got a good guy to talk about on the more heroic side of things from Zylona's Flock, and a lot of new parts here. This is stuff that I've never seen up until now, and of course this is our first satyr in the line also, so we've got a goat man here. He is still a 1.0 style figure. He's essentially a dwarf. He's not using traditional dwarf armor parts throughout the entire body, but the construction is the same, so a normal upper body with dwarf legs. So we've got a head that can look up, but because of how he's constructed, up is different for him. But it still works, especially depending on how the angle you've got. He's definitely looking up. Down is pretty much non-existent for obvious reasons. Got some tilt, and then we've got full rotation. So pretty good overall at the head. Arms out at the shoulder. We've got rotation also. Elbows are using, of course, new arms here and do seem to have better movement than usual. You know, a lot of Legions figures hit just about 90, some are a little bit under. This guy seems to be slightly higher. It's not the greatest change ever, but it certainly is a quality of life improvement for just getting those arms to be up a little bit higher, and that's obviously due to this new design. They were clearly sculpted with that intent. So you've got your hinge and rotation there. We've got swiveling forearms because, of course, that's a separate piece, and then you've got hinge and rotation at the wrist. Again, 1.0 figure, so he is, you know, a single buck torso, so he goes back a little bit. It's just a ball peg down here, and then he goes forward a bit. We've got our tilt side to side, and it's our rotation point. Legs are going to go out pretty much all the way. I mean, they can go all the way, but he does have a lot of stuff down here, so he's got this sort of leathery cuirass that's on him, and it's going to get in the way. Kick forward works pretty well still, not too hindered. I mean, it's definitely pushing on that piece, but it's still going to work just fine. Kicks backward a decent bit too. You do have a twist up there. We've got our single jointed rotating knee also, as usual. And then down at the ankles, you've got rotation because it's a separate piece altogether. And then we've got pretty decent hinge, or a rocker rather. And then your hinge is pretty good as well, so the point remains. Pretty good rocker, pretty good hinge. It's not perfect because of the overall bulbousy design of those hooves, but it still works pretty well, and you should be able to get him into pretty much any normal pose for Legions without much fuss. Now, articulation aside, because of course he does have a few improvements, and I'm really happy to see those, the visuals is what this guy is all about, because his look is so different from everything, and it's not just because he's got a goat head with horns on it, it's because he has all these new parts, and because he has a very unconventional color scheme here. I'm not going to say that this is orange, but it's certainly not just brown. Like, there's a hint of orange in there, and he's got the golden sort of burnt copper kind of color armor down below. So there's a lot of colors here that we don't necessarily see a lot. And of course, this design for his armor is very, very different. He doesn't have a full set of plate armor or mail armor or anything like that, because he's not going to be on the front lines of your Legion. He's supposed to be a healer, so he's supposed to be in the back, supporting your troops and being more of a wizardy type of character. I do, however, absolutely love this armor design, and we do have one new thing to talk about when it comes to this torso here in a second, but I think at first glance this is just a really compelling design. I think it works really well, and also I'm really happy with these new arms and this new torso. All of this sort of weave pattern that's in there is sculpted really well. It catches the light, and there's a little bit of a wash on top of this just to bring some of it out. It's very faint, like he's not supposed to be super dirty by the looks of it, but it's very faint and just enough to bring out a lot of that little patterning, those sort of like little divots that are in there. But he has this sort of like leather armor that I really like, this sort of, leather chest piece here with all of these little bits and bobs, all these sort of like rivets that are in there basically. And each one of those is of course individually painted, and it flows down to the sort of skirt piece that he's got here also, which covers the legs. This is actually the belt, so all of these pieces, these sort of leathery flaps, they're all connected to the belt. So if you want the belt to come off, these are going to go with it. We've got our sort of codpiece armor down here also. And below the waist, he's very traditional, dwarf. Very traditional dwarf. These are small dwarven legs. They're done up in, of course, a very Xylona's flock color. So that sort of burnt copper with the green accents, which is very reminiscent of her own figure. And then we've got our hooves down here, which of course work perfectly for this type of character. So we already had hooves existing in this line, so of course it makes perfect sense to throw them onto a goat man. But I think overall the color scheme here works really, really well. The only thing that I'm not too jazzed about is the fact that his neck piece is the same sort of metallic copper as the legs. I kind of feel like it should have flowed from the shirt into the neck. Something about it kind of just, I don't know, kind of catches my eye a little bit in the wrong way, I suppose. Because that stands out as being this weird metallic piece that sits on top of a very non-metallic everything else until you get to the legs. So it kind of works to bring them all together, I suppose, but at the same time, it's a bit distracting for me. Now, I'm going to take them apart to talk about this. So this is something that I was apparently not even aware of until I went to PowerCon. I don't know how I missed it, or maybe I just don't pay enough attention when they're talking about it, but this is one of the pieces of armor that has the new plate system. So you can pop this off, and while there's not exactly a lot to trade with yet, you can pop this piece off, and this is how they're incorporating a new way to do armor in the line. So other figures in this line have them too. I think Bardrick has them, and Baron Voligar 2 also has one as well. And then of course this is going to be a way for customizers and third-party parts manufacturers to get in there and start making new chest pieces, which I believe has already happened. Like long before I even got my figures, there were people that were doing this. So I think that's a really ingenious way to accomplish that, and it does work really, really well. He comes apart very easily. There's not a whole lot of fuss to it, so I'm really happy with that. It's an interesting way to change that up, and of course it's a way for them to make the line more cost effective for them also, just to have that piece pop out instead of sculpting an entire new torso. So I do like it. It's pretty ingenious idea there. And then of course our goat man is topped off with a goat head, which I absolutely love. I mean, outside of the fact that this figure does have this incredibly striking color scheme and overall parts setup, the head is clearly where your attention's probably going to be drawn to, right? So it's this very, very, fantastical head sculpt in terms of source material. It clearly looks like something, out of, myths and fairy tales and things like that. So we've got our goat man here with our huge, huge horns. These are not meant to be removable. They're separate pieces. I suppose if you wanted to, you could pop them out and fill those in, or, swap them out with something else if you were really getting heavy onto the customizing. So these are separate pieces, but they're glued in. But the overall sculpt here is pretty tremendous. The paintwork on that beard is great to distinguish it from the rest of the face. You've got that white, and then of course the black, and those super black eyes that are kind of sunken back behind that furrowed brow. I think overall his expression, while looking very stoic, also has a little bit of you don't want to mess with me behind it too. He looks like he's ready to throw down whether he's a healer or not. So I'm very, very happy with this guy. Not just because he is a new thing for the line, but because of this combination of parts and colors for the most part is really, really doing it for me, and I'm absolutely digging this new chest piece setup. Now, as far as accessories goes, KROTOS has a pretty decent array here, and he's got two specific things that are new, so that on its own is exciting. To start with, of course, we do have some pauldrons, and this is probably why that neck piece is the golden, burnt copper kind of color. I am not convinced that this guy needs pauldrons, though. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them or not. I almost always do, but I feel like something about him, I feel like he looks a little cooler without him. But we get the makings. I mean, you have like half a dwarf here, really, if you really wanted to, if you can find the other parts. We've got our standard sort of Knights-style pauldrons done up in, of course, the Xylona flock sort of color scheme. So you've got, again, more of that goldish copper color with the green, which I think works really well, and it definitely ties him together a little bit better. But I also think that, for your money, you could probably go either way, and he's still going to look really awesome. So you got a couple options there. Then we get this axe. Just sort of a standard weapon, again, sort of done up in like a coppery color, more coppery than gold this time, with a sort of gunmetal-y gray. So we've seen this a bunch of times. And we've gotten a new accessory piece here with this little satchel bag that he's got. So you've got sort of like a little knapsack down here, and then your bag, and of course this can just be slung over his shoulder. He doesn't get a strap or back adapters either. I didn't have any of that in my box. Are we in an in for those? Who's to say? But he gets this, which I'm really happy with, and of course this is going to have a lot more applications as we get into the more magic-y side of things, you know, down the road with like Poxus and things of that nature. But I'm really happy with this in particular, just because it's something a little bit different, and of course that rolls into this also. So his very wizard shamanistic kind of staff, which this on its own I think is just a cool accessory, and of course it is something new and different, and it makes him out to be more in line with the sort of healer cleric idea that they're trying to sell from his bio and just his overall, you know, story. The staff itself is really rigid up until the top part here. This of course, you know, being legions, it's removable. This is really gummy. Not in a bad way, like I'm not having any problems with it, it's just an oddly different material, but I think it looks really good. My only real concern is getting it in and out of his hands, because I've already got some paint rub from where I've been messing around with it, but it does look really good. Of course, the crook shape, and then these little like baubles hanging down, the little bottle up here, and the wraps. Just a cool, different kind of thing that of course works to sell the overall idea of this guy. So overall, I'm really happy with this little guy, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. I'm really happy with him. He comes with a lot of new stuff, you know, stuff that so far I've not gotten into because I'm not done with this wave. But for me, seeing this new chest system in person is really cool. I'm digging these new arms, and I absolutely love this head sculpt, but I really like his color scheme. You know, I like the parts combination that we've got, but I do like the color scheme for the most part. That neck still kind of throws me. And then, of course, I don't necessarily think he even needs the pauldrons, but I'm never upset about getting more pauldrons. Not to mention the fact that he does come with a solid array of accessories, and I'm really happy with that little satchel that he has, and the wizard staff. It of course plays up the idea that they're trying to sell here, so we get some very specific accessories for him, for the idea they're trying to get across, that of course you can use with other figures if you want to kit bash and mix things up and all that fun stuff. So he's a really cool new figure. Curious to see where these parts go down the road, but I'm happy to have my goat man. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legions Illythia Wave KROTOS. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.